Yeah, welcome to the Offspace podcast. It's your host with the motherfucking most, True Golfer.
And it's your favorite co-host, As Go Offer.
And today we're joined by a very special guest, my dog, Mook.
Pretty Mookie, the culprit, in-house COA.
Yes, sir.
In the building. Glad
Someone's always feeling themselves. No offense when you give it an intro like that. I love it, man.
You
Confidence coming
my
through.
Nigga got the gold
glad to be here,
yes, sir. We're legend status.
Happy to have you here, man.
Great energy.
Yes, sir. And just a little bit about my dog. He's been rapping for a long time. We had a lot of good discussion, like off the mic about some of this stuff, but he's somebody that I put it in a category of their pen is what you're going to know him for before anything else, and he's made sure to make that the thing that comes to the forefront for him. If you follow him on any social media, it's going to be at Mook Sprockets. We're going to include it in the link below on YouTube and all of the audio spaces that we're on. But one of my favorite things he does, and is one of the few people that is not afraid to still do, is like the freestyles. Like my dog will still drop the videos and still just give you some bars and show you that y'all can't sit at the same table as him. And so we got to make sure there. But do you have anything coming up? Do you want to give them a little tidbit about yourself?
Right now, me and my brother, we working on some new stuff. Got some new freestyles coming. Right now I'm working on my solo tape right now. Doing a lot of visuals, getting a lot of visuals done for my last project, Sativa Drivel. If you ain't checked that out, definitely.
All DSPs.
For sure. Getting some visuals done and trying to stay consistent with the visuals. While we all in the house right now, everybody's glued to whatever screen they looking at all day.
Exactly.
So you got your eyes on and your mind on what's important right now, especially for that.
Because I look at me, I know I'm if I'm not on my phone, I'm on my computer.
Bro, my screen time is making me depressed every week, bro.
I'm telling you.
I just try not to look at it.
I'm just trying to make sure I'm looking at what I want to look at.
Exactly.
I'm listening to music, I'm looking at videos. Fuck with that. You feel
at least
me?
something, you know what I'm saying?
Try to stay out the YouTube rabbit hole.
Oh my, that shit gets
It's pretty
dangerous. But I saw you were working on, like you said, new music videos coming, new freestyles coming, new music coming. Are you going to, this is a question I'll actually ask, just to pop it off a little bit before we get into heat checks and start.
Yeah.
But a lot of artists are kind of afraid of what is to come in this pandemic, right? Like when it comes with music, just because you don't know how the scape's going to look right now, right? And so are you really wary with drops right now, whether it comes to audio drops or whether it comes to visual drops, or does it not really bother you? You're just kind of shoot them out and just keep going? Or do you have like a pandemic plan, or is it just going to be same shit?
Always a plan. I would say more so in the beginning of the pandemic, I had more of a like you said, more weary, not sure how you want to approach it, kind of a wait and see mentality. But now I'm just ready to go, because I feel like how things are right now, this is leading towards what the future is going to be.
Exactly.
You feel me? So it's better to get comfortable rather than just keep waiting for things to get back to your comfort zone, because who the fuck knows?
I feel like that's probably a good thought, because we were just talking about this, and as an entertainer like yourself, you have a unique perspective, probably even more so than others, on what it means to kind of navigate trying to do what you do in a time when what you do has been completely shifted. It's not like selling some shit on Amazon that's easy to do and people are still doing it, even to better degree. You have to figure out how to navigate a little differently. So you're doing a good job with it, though.
I noticed, appreciate you, man.
Chuga put me on, because when he tried to show me your music for the first time, he showed me, I think it was it was through a music video or something like that. And the visual were going crazy with it too, and you kind of tapped into that.
I think the first thing I showed him, which my nigga always has, I was telling him, I hate standing next to this nigga sometimes because he always outswags me. So I'm only happy that I'm taller, because that's all I have is the height on me right now. But anyways, this nigga, he had he had the pink silky on, and one of the freestyles. I think that was crazy. Going crazy. Always. Do you always? I'm sure you care, just as somebody that is always pretty well put together when you step out, but even when it comes to your visuals, do you always overthink them, or is it kind of this is the vibe right now, let's just get it? Or do you kind of plan them as you go, even with something like a freestyle?
100% overthink, for sure. But even when I do overthink, I just wind up just going back to what I originally thought.
Your first thought,
you feel me? But overthinking, that's my... In the past, that's been my biggest enemy with any of this music shit. So definitely plays a part in the visuals with overthinking, but
But they are always catered to like what you're doing at that time specifically. In that,
exactly.
Do you ever like work on like the visuals just solely by yourself, or are other people involved with it as well that kind of like help make that come together?
Especially for the stuff that I'm doing now. Most of the visuals I'm doing by myself, especially for this next video that I'm doing for one of my songs off my project. I'm putting like a story together based off of a movie. So with stuff like that, like I just write it out by detail because I like to know, I like to be hands-on with what I'm doing. So if I see something that I don't like, I can tell you why. I can tell the videographer what I don't like about this or what I want to add in, you know? So I would say for the most part, especially recently, I've been trying to put most of the stuff together myself.
I get that. And
but I still got my game.
I can kind of guess you're that kind of person too, because like it helps, especially when you're really creative like that.
Yeah.
You always respect other people, like giving you what they have, like to make whatever you want to do work, because you can't do everything. No matter how much you want to, you can't do it all to like the level of 10 like you want to. But when you are that kind of person, you always want to put like a little bit of your thoughts, a little bit of your spin on it, because even with people that we've worked on that were way better than us at certain shit to get done for like what we wanted to do, we were still the kind of people like we had ideas of how we wanted it to work and like doing things like that. So I get you. But
I got an amazing team though, in-house ATL run by my boy Keith, and got my boy AC Kilo, a few other people in there. Like we anything that I want to work on, I'll bring it to them and get their perspective on it, and they'll add to it, let me know if they do like it, just a real team effort. Like, and I feel like that's the most important thing with music.
And is he like Southern Keith? Not like
yeah. Oh, not the taller Keith, the shorter Keith.
The shorter one. I've met him
Conway.
before though. He seems like somebody which I'm happy, like, because I've seen your house dynamic a little bit. Like obviously that was like on some like pre-gaming or just like homie shit. But I mean like just the people you seem to surround yourself with, whether it be like the mutual friends we have, that's a blessing in a game like this, because I don't think none of them niggas are gonna lie to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's people that are just going to be honest and straight up with you about, like, what's going on and give you honest feedback. Because as an artist, one thing that's important that artists remember, just creators in general remember, is it's your art. Sure. And so you can hear 3,000 opinions. If you don't like what they're saying, like, do what you want to do and stay true to you. But you should always be open to criticism, critique, like whatever, because it could take your vision to a new level. Because whatever people tell you, you can put your own spin on it, and then it's just something you didn't even think of, and boom, it's out of here. You know,
speaking of honesty, Keith was just giving me a good little talking to not too long ago.
Really?
just keeping it 1,000, like, and you need that though, like,
for sure.
Because if you don't have nobody around you that's gonna keep it 100 with you and just keep you on your shit, let you know when you slipping, or letting you know when maybe this will add this and do this, or just stay on you. Like, that's important to have that around you, because self-motivation is great, but you got that motivation from the people around you.
And people that truly have your best self-interest in mind.
That too.
Because they're not going to yes-men you to death. Because yes-men will just send you into like a spiral of bad. You know what I'm saying? You're never going to get better if niggas are just like every single thing is like outstanding. Yes. You know what I'm saying? Or like you're doing the right thing. You're doing this when you know you're fucking up yourself in certain areas. Like me, myself, I know I'm lazier than I should be with some discipline in this entertainment shit, just being completely honest. I should be more diligent with my video work sometimes, more diligent with like some of the little editing I do on the audio, stuff like that. And it takes people like him, it takes people like my roommate, like that really are on my ass about it. Like, no, dog, you know where you want to be, so like act like you want to be there.
I mean, our issue, we're hoarders. Like we get all the content together and be like, all right, let's add something else to it. Let's shoot this, like, and just be hoarding on the shit. Like, we got shit from last year that's ready to go.
I feel like that's somebody like a creative person's kind of like downfall though. You really only, and it sounds weird or it sounds fucked, I guess, in some capacity, but you really only want to do the fun shit and what's fun to you, right? So that is creating content. So when there's all this like minute details and shit that you have to worry about, that's a little bit more the busy work, things that you wouldn't want to delegate to somebody else, like the business side of it or like the technical shit. That's never what you're like, oh, I'm so happy I gotta wake up today and put in 8 hours on editing a video. That is not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to shoot the video.
I can't wait till I can pay niggas.
But that's the great thing about having your bro here though. Like, no matter what, anybody slipping on anything, y'all holding each other accountable.
Exactly. But enough of that for right now. Like, we're gonna intertwine some more of that conversation as we go, because your perspective is gonna be a unique one in regards to the fact that people know us, like the people that watch this shit. So a lot of the times,
good listening to the Offspace podcast.
Shout out to the squad,
Hey, but it's like, it's predictable to a sense, It's like, yes, the conversation is going to be unique and like things of that nature. But if you asked us like hey, about this person, like, we don't use names of people that we don't fuck with, but you're gonna know I don't fuck with that type of person. You know what I'm saying? So it's unique always to get just somebody else's brain and somebody's outlook on some of these things. So before we get into the nitty gritty of it, how's everybody doing today? How's y'all's past weeks been? Like,
I don't know about y'all, but with Thanksgiving, everything's been super, super smooth with me. Thanksgiving hasn't always been like my holiday for sure, just due to family stuff and stuff like that. And but this year I was like, I'm not gonna be that nigga that just sit in the crib and just sulk about how things aren't, and just kind of just get in that mode of appreciating the moment. You feel me? Because there's a lot that we definitely take advantage of and take for granted. You feel me? So I just made sure stay in the moment, get out there, actually be with my fam, and just have a great Thanksgiving. It was great.
That's nice, man. Happy to hear that.
No, I love that. I love that a lot.
For me, I'm not gonna lie, because like especially with like right now and not being able to, I guess, talk on more of the social shit. So again, it's just like being around family, especially in the moment and things like that with Thanksgiving and the holidays like around the corner. Being able to appreciate some of the things that I do, especially doing them with family, like me and Sumto hanging out with each other. That man pisses me off all the time, but being able to hang out with him, play just little shit like chess or whatever, right? When you don't get to do that with people, because let's be honest, who the fuck does that for the most part? And being able to enjoy things like that.
And he's in fucking nursing school now. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you don't see niggas all the time because we're adults. And that's one of the number one things I wanted to go into a little bit, like with what you said, but on like a personal anecdote level. It's like Thanksgiving has always been kind of like that with me too. Like my family's always been pretty close knit. Don't get me wrong, but for some reason, like with holidays, like I always know I'm about to get into an argument with somebody or I'm about to be pissed off. Like I always just for some reason, like you've seen it. Like it seems like
where do you think that stems from?
At some point,
like that energy.
Like to be real, like I don't know. Like it could just be me finding a reason. You know what I'm saying? Like because sometimes you need to just enjoy things for what they are and enjoy things in the moment, right? And sometimes I'll set like unrealistic expectations for certain shit, like bringing like when I was with my ex, right? Like bringing her around my family, like a couple of times it went like south, right? But it's because probably in my head, like I want to use that because that kind of stems into the holidays a little bit, because I think like I just have a picture in my head of what I want the situation to be, right? And that's not realistic. I can't predict if mom's on 10 like that day. I can't predict if like my dad's bullshitting or like this or like that or like one of my siblings, etc., right? But this year, surprisingly, like on the same tip like you were talking about, I think a lot of people have just gotten so much shit put into perspective with all of the fuck shit that's going on this year. You know what I'm saying? Like losing like R.I.P. Kobe and losing a bunch of just like major prominent people period losing family all year. We're seeing all of the social justice stuff happening, but like all of the shit black people been knowing happening, but now we're seeing it like on camera every day. You know what I'm saying? To the point that we're realizing that we can't take this shit for granted. And this has been the smoothest holiday for me. Like it was really like a good in and out of like I went home, enjoyed my time with everybody. I didn't even smoke before Thanksgiving for the first time. That shit is crazy. And like, right? I was just chilling there sober the whole time. Like, and still it was cool. You know what I'm saying? Like that's why I was confused. Like no, it was really just cool all day.
That's
cool
fine.
All day.
I get it.
Enjoyed myself.
Because I know like everyone's family situation is different. So I'm not about to sit here and pretend like everybody's just has the best relationship with all of their family members and shit, and everything's gravy, because that's never how it is. But I know, especially in the past, knowing that even if you do have a good relationship with your family, they're the people that know how to get you to that point that you're pissed off, or know how to get you to the point where like you're agitated.
Like, they can turn your buttons,
because they really know you type shit. So it's just like again having life change so much in like these months or whatever, to where you realize what's important, what's not important, and just like not letting that shit phase you, and just enjoying the moment.
Like you said, putting shit in perspective. Like I definitely with my family's super loving, so anything that's going on, it's like it's definitely internal, my picture of what I want things to be. You feel me? Putting things in perspectives. Everybody being in the house this much, you feel me? Like how you sit back like, damn, maybe I'm tripping. Like
That's right, bro. I've been asking myself all year with certain little shit, and I feel like I've grown. Like,
start asking yourself,
I made a tweet.
Yeah, is it me?
About 2020, ironically being genuinely the best year of my life. Like, this has been the best year of my life. Like, from a lot of standpoints, but from like a mental growth standpoint, a lot of people talked about this shit at the beginning. Like, yo, this is the growth year. Like, stay inside and do this. Whoop de whoop de whoop. And I get it.
Did they say it in March though? Like when COVID started to look spooky, or did they say it in January? Like they always say it. And then
definitely about February.
Definitely about February. People were like, "Oh, we're gonna have to be in the crib, blah blah blah." And then, but you notice that a lot of people have changed. Don't get me wrong, and a lot of people really haven't changed. But I've seen like rapid growth in a ton of people. You know what I'm saying? Like, it seems like this has been a year to like double down and really learn you. You know what I'm saying? Like, be with you and like figure out exactly like what's going on with yourself. And it's made a lot of situations in life easier for me because I've been able to just point shit out with myself. Like, yeah, in that situation you are a dickhead. Like, yeah, in that situation, like,
the shit is forcing people to have to deal with themselves. You feel me? Like, really like sit down and deal with your family, deal with your people that you run out to go to the club to get away from low-key every day. You don't really notice it. You feel me? Like,
you start to notice little tendencies. Like me with smoking, like I got to a point where I realized, like, and don't get me wrong, like I had to shift everything with that. Like I started only smoking at nights for like anxiety and like to help go to sleep, like genuine. And so I'll like get into my creative zone like at nighttime and just like do what I gotta do and then pass out, right? But before I started to notice, like that was initially like an escape. Just like I didn't want to deal with shit. I didn't want to like think about shit. I didn't want to like work through shit myself, right? And once I figured that and started to do the shit that actually serves me, like meditation, like journaling, you know, like little stuff like that. And everybody's different, don't get me wrong. It was like a fast track to where I feel like, and everyone older probably thinks every young nigga thinks like this, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like this is the year that I truly have all the keys. I just need to execute now. It just took me getting this old to get them. Like I had to run through the shit I ran through to like learn the shit I need to become the successful person that I want to be in the future. And so it is what it is there. But great on everybody, happy everybody's happy and everybody's in good spirits right now.
Chilling, bro.
Let's get straight into music shit though. What have y'all been listening to this week? Throw out a heat check for everybody.
I'll go ahead and start it off. Something that kind of struck a chord with me because I've been listening to like a lot of like what my rotation has been from recently, but not on any like standout shit, you know, like nothing really popped like that. But then I was listening to something. It's funny enough because it was today, just trying to catch up on some things that I missed. And I used to be a giant J. Cole fan. He knows this. That was just like one of the people that really got me into
I
like.
think that was his first go.
Like, yeah, like real, who like, really got me into like rap type shit.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Because if he fit more of a nigga like me. I wasn't the kind that was like out doing like whatever shit. It just felt like I liked the storytelling. I liked whatever things, and I like the message and shit. As corny as that sounds, I know it always sounds corny.
I'm right there with you, man.
I'm right there with you.
I'm right there with you.
So, but listening to a song today, I guess by Cordae, which seems like he's on like he was definitely one of those people who was inspired by a J. Cole type and shit like that. And hearing his song Parables, it sounded like it brought back that same feeling, which made me really enjoy the song. And there was a line in there because I know one of Cole's best songs to me and one of my favorite songs is Dollar in a Dream. And so he made a line in that song called, and in the line reference like a penny and a plan, and I was like, oh, I see. I see. You maybe didn't mean to, but I know why you did that.
So you feel like he comes from that same tree as J. Cole, kind of that same feel.
Like if we go like, because he's a decade younger, so you really chop up a lot of these generations every 5-10. Like if we go whole classes probably now with how fast it's going, I'll give it like 5. You know what I'm saying? But
you got people similar, but I feel like it's definitely the world always seems to show itself by decades. Like you see like the different variations,
especially with rap. Like if I'm doing like you said by the decade, you can see like, all right, these are the 5 niggas that dominated this decade. You can see pieces of people from before in all 5 of those artists
because they got it from someone.
Like, oh, this is the Jay-Z of this generation. This is the, not to say that anybody's
the same person,
but you know, this is the Nas of this generation. This is the Wayne of this generation.
Like, even down to like niche shit, like motherfuckers would really like not even think of the fact that there's like a crime mob of this generation. There's like a this of this generation. There's so many people that
all this shit repeats, bro.
It's so
it really do. Like
even back to the beginning of this shit, back to the beginning of hip hop. It's like we found a new Flavor Flav like every 10 years. You know what I'm saying? Like every 5 years, like motherfuckers act like they were never influenced by anybody, which is the funniest thing in the world to me, because if you listen to music, the person you listen to was influenced by somebody that was influenced by somebody that was influenced by somebody. Like, it's a never-ending cycle.
And you admitting that shit is never looks bad on you. It's just you being real.
It's just
you can always put your, because this is something like when you're trying to, I know this is like weird tangent, and I want to get onto what y'all were talking about, especially for your songs and things like that.
Shoot for it.
But I remember I used to look into how to be successful in these different realms or whatever, right? Especially as someone who didn't want to be on a more traditional route. So like there wasn't a laid out plan for like go to college for certain things. I'm in college, but I knew that like the things I wanted to do weren't necessarily something that would teach me. Okay. So I'd be on like a YouTube learning how to like what makes you successful in these different routes, and they're like, look, like nothing's wrong with drawing inspiration from others. You could do things that you know you liked to do or like you thought were interesting. It's just who are you when you're doing that? What's your unique perspective? And I feel like that's the same for music, because you can say you're not influenced by anybody, but you want to make music. Okay, what is music? You've obviously taken it from somewhere. You've heard it before. What did you like to listen to? Whether you like it or not, that's been ingrained in you. And it's going to end up coming out in some variation.
Like, Thug sounds like nobody in 2020. You know what I'm saying? He just sounds like Thug. But, like, Thug's first couple tapes, he sounded like Wayne. Like, you could tell the person that was their biggest influence. And that's how a lot of people get into their own.
But, like, when you listen to Thug, and you listen to a lot of new rappers now, you hear his,
like, this sounded like Thug.
Influence.
Same shit.
That whole thing, using your voice as like an instrument.
Oh, my God.
You hear it.
And it's funny, even with him, like, we're going to get into this, like, a little bit later, but it's like, Thug is one of two people. Ironically, he was talking about Stacks this week too with the Andre 3000 stuff, but it's like Thug is one of two people, him and Andre 3000, that it's not like sometimes, like Kendrick on Blessed, he turned into the instrumental. Like the way he was rapping, like he floated on that shit to the point that you can almost hear the instrumental without it being in the background. Thug's the same way. Like Thug, but that he always is like that. It's like whatever song comes on, this nigga transforms into the instrumental. Like that's one of the number one artistic things to me about Thug. Like this nigga screaming out shit like this money turning me on, and then you're hearing like the horns and shit in the background. You're like, bro, it sound like the fucking instruments are saying this money turning me on. Like this nigga sound.
That might be one of the most iconic things I've heard.
This nigga goated.
But yeah, Stacks was one of the first people that caught my eye doing shit like that. Because Andre 3000, when you were listening to his older, well, this nigga very limited catalog, so I'll say older music, like he has a bunch of new music, but listening to like the shit that put us on to like the Outkast and things like that, you could hear Big Boy was the, if you came from like a traditional route, and this is no slight, because I think anybody that puts Stacks here, you gotta put Big Boy right here, because they were both just as important to that collective. So let's be clear about respect for Big Boy. But like,
why do people put 3000 so much higher?
I think
it's because everyone heard international.
I have my own opinion, but I wonder.
Everyone heard International Players Anthem, and that's the only Andre 3000 verse that white people like to reference.
I was gonna say that, and like I feel like commercial success
white
outside of like
they love them some fucking hey.
They love that shit.
Commercial success outside of that is just like you don't things that I say again were bigger for like all people, because again, their music touched more than just black people, like no matter how we look at it, you know. And so
that's
like
the only way you go pop is if you touch everybody.
Exactly. And so when you're looking at somebody in that grand scheme of like all influences and shit, like especially like really a lot younger people, you even look at shit like I don't know, Class of 3000, you know, like this a show on Cartoon Network, and it's like, you know, that was only Andre, you know what I mean, on there, like. It's just him breaking outside of that into like these different things that left an impression on people that were solely him.
I've never seen that.
You haven't? It was like a show on Cartoon Network that they had like all these little kids who like
and it's funny,
played instruments and made music, and every episode they dropped a song.
The music was crazy.
And it's about him.
He was the teacher.
He was the teacher.
Okay.
Yeah, and so he was a part of the songs too.
That's fire,
bro.
It was one of my favorite shows.
That soundtrack crazy, bro.
I think
it's a kid show, like crazy.
How old are you?
I'm 26.
Okay, so like to be fair, if he didn't have me as a little brother, probably, or like my little sister, he may not have seen it because it was just a little bit younger than y'all. I think growing up.
Because I caught a lot of shit just like watching shit with my little siblings, so I just got lucky on that aspect. But dog, I'm telling you, you're gonna listen to that soundtrack, or you're gonna go listen to a couple songs from it. You'll be like, this nigga made outstanding music on a kid's show, he's
like real genius, you know, fellow Grady baby. You feel me?
Grady baby.
Hopefully, I got some of that. You feel me?
Nah, Northside Hospital around here. Northside Hospital.
Shout out to Northside. Shout out to Northside.
See, I'm happy I can say Grady though. Niggas tell me I'm not Atlanta. I'm like,
you feel
okay.
me? I don't care if I'm in Gwinnett.
You feel me? It's like
Born in Grady.
right here, nigga.
Can't deny me.
Moving past that though, what have you been listening to, man?
Yeah.
I've been heavy into really listening a lot of Benny the Butcher.
Like, and then it's gonna be a part of my heat check, and I have an apology with mine, but go hard.
Heavy. If I had to pinpoint one, I would say New Streets off that Burden of Proof. Benny's different.
What speaks to you about New Streets?
Benny's different, bro. Like,
bruh, that project. I was telling niggas, I was like, the way this nigga has been ripping every feature, because it's the same way I told niggas.
Niggas don't rap like that no more. Like he's like, and I'm pretty sure I've heard him. Other people say this about him too, but like, it's like if Jadakiss and Styles P came out like now, like in this era, like
exactly.
Questions that I've always had, like, because music is going a certain way, more melodic, more popish in certain ways, or just the way people are rapping now is just a little different than it used to be. But to see someone like Benny come in and just straight get right back to
the basement,
when
like
they've been doing straight to that Kiss, that Styles P,
the rolling dice rapping on a corner, like music,
like just straight bars, like, and being successful with it, being very successful with it, and doing it his way. Like he's not following no type of trend for real. He just even if you look at his older music, like he's been doing this, like, and to see that come in together, like even that song New Streets, like it's just a verse, just a verse, beat, talk at the end, like,
but it was no
enough. Hook. No,
because you didn't want all the other stuff. You're like, I just feel for bars. Like this man really just brings that.
Bruh.
That's the type of shit I love. I love to see a nigga be able to go in the booth and just drop a verse and just go
crazy.
Just go.
No, that's my favorite thing about Benny, and I'm actually going to. He's a part of the heat check that I'm about to say as well. But my favorite thing about Benny is the fact that the Griselda movement in general is showing people that they're still. Because a lot of people forget people like and I feel so disrespectful. No, like a Danny Brown, right? And just like certain artists that had their moments, and people think, oh, what's happening to them? They're this, that. No, these niggas are still very successful. For sure. Making a ton of money. Like people think that if you're not billboarded, or if you're not like this front page of the Shade Room, or like on all this shit all the time, that you're not super successful, because they fall into the smoke and mirrors of the music industry, when really the most successful niggas long term are like a Styles, are like a Jada, like people that created a niche for themselves, created a pocket that they have a cult following of fans that are always gonna fuck with that, and they're gonna follow you everywhere, so you're always gonna stay paid. So like Benny, he's gonna stay paid forever. Like Jada Kiss, I'm still excited to hear Jada Kiss and Styles P projects. It's 2020. You know what I'm saying? If you caught certain fans, they're good on you forever.
But you know what that is though? Because at the end of the day, good music's forever. You know what I mean? Like, all the other shit people, like, judge rappers and singers and whatever off of are only for the moment when it comes to, like, the Instagram shit, like, all the extra, like, outside, like, scandals and stuff. Like, that's, I guess, interesting for the moment, but no one gives a fuck about
in music,
that.
there's always that time where everybody's like, oh, hip-hop is dying. It's turning into...
Bro, like, think about it, like...
It's in every generation, there's always the outliers, and then it's every generation. Like, it's not going nowhere.
That's funny as fuck to me, because hip-hop is forever, y'all gotta accept that. But it's like, motherfuckers will take... Because like you were saying, the shift, right? I'm happy we've gotten away from this a little bit, because I think really Griselda is pulling the feeling back a little bit, which is good. I really do love that in music. But like, a lot of people don't look at... Because you look at the glitz, the glamour. And so people will see like a Lil Pump. We'll just use him as an example. Somebody that made M&M's. He made 8 figures that 1 year though. It was 1 year. Amazing. He's never going to get paid again because niggas don't care about him. Like that was his 1 year, and now you got to manage that the rest of your life. You see all the desperate moves. You see all the like whatevers, and we won't even dwell on him. He's just a good example because we saw how big you can get in 1 year. You know, because he made a ton of money that year. I'm not going to take that away, but it was 1 year. Jadakiss, Styles P, like a Benny, like people like a Freddie Gibbs. I'm happy he's now getting his notoriety and his recognition. Those are people that, would you rather get like $8-10 million? No, would you rather get like $15 million in a single year, and then no one's gonna fuck with you anymore, and you're not gonna get paid for the rest of your life unless you do some whatever shit? Or would you rather get like, let's say their biggest year, I don't know these niggas' numbers, we're looking in their pockets, it's just for sake of example, right? You build up that following that actually fucks with you, that actually loves you, and you make like 5 in your biggest year, but the rest of your life you're at least hitting 1. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, but from that same perspective, just playing devil's advocate, like a lot of people kids, like for real. Like they are, will they even be, the way niggas is going out, like will they be alive in another year or two.
Fair.
3.
Fair.
They see that $8 million check, like, I'm gonna do whatever, I'm gonna sign that, I'm gonna take that, and live life to the fullest, because niggas is living life like there's no tomorrow. Like, real. Like,
really
niggas don't give a fuck.
We've seen it like firsthand. Like, to be real, if you've been around like a lot of these industry things in Atlanta, like you've seen some crazy shit. And we're just in the A. We're not even in other places where people are talking about nut shit. Nut shit going on. But so actually,
you talk to the right person, they'll be like, I'll take that 8 mil and that's it.
It's over with. You know what I'm saying? Quick.
Because I don't know if I'm going to be here next year.
But I got actually a question for you that goes down that path after I say my heat check. But I'm going to start my heat check off by apologizing. And I'm not apologizing because of the fact that
we forgive you, man.
I said anything. This nigga hilarious. It's not like I said anything that wild. It's like I feel like I didn't give dude enough flowers.
You always say some wild shit.
I do say wild.
Yeah, man. I'm just happy someone else is here for
jokes. I make a lot of jokes.
Usually it's me, like.
But I do have to apologize to Russ only because that last project made me a fan.
That's right.
Because I don't check for his music.
Expect that.
I never check for his music. I know he had singular songs here and there I really fucked with. Like, I was never a hater. I would listen to the music. It just wasn't really for me. But like this last project, I think he was looking for people like me. You know what I'm saying? In terms of like I'm gonna show these niggas I do this, and then get back to the music that's making me $30 million a fucking year for him. So you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like the white cold shit he's built with like that poppy sound, right? So this whole album, he dropped like a little EP. I think it was like 2 weeks ago.
I saw he did like a freestyle Rap City like a basement.
Bro,
bringing that back.
I'm telling you, like this was like it was like 7 songs maybe. It was like a little EP. He just threw it out there. Crazy. It's like the whole thing is just raps. It's literally just spitting. He only has spitters on there with him. Okay. And he Alchemist production. There's fucking Ninth Wonder went crazy on actually my heat check, which is Momentum. Okay. On that album that's featuring Benny and Black Thought. And when I tell you, like, when I tell you, I don't even want to. I can't get disrespectful because there are 2 legends on there, so I'm gonna chill. But it's like I know you're about to say. He was right there though. Like I'm telling you, you would never expect that though with Russ rapping with these people, right? But Benny got both of them niggas. But like
Russ is a student of the game though, man.
For sure,
I was about to say,
like, give him his respect. So we're from this area, so you've heard like probably the low shit about him. You know what I'm saying? Like because you hear about people that are catching buzz in this city, and like even then, like when I went to an Earth Gang concert that. It was like Earth Gang, JID, like they even brought Russ out at the concert. You know what I'm saying? He just came and performed a song like on some small venue shit, and that nigga's only doing festivals at that point in stadiums, like big ass shit that he's selling out. And it's because like this Atlanta connection it's not as sweet as motherfuckers like to make it seem like outside of the city, but it is real in terms of everybody does kind of know everybody. Like you've at least heard of most people, right?
I mean, it's the most important. I mean, y'all already know this is the most important place for music, period.
In the world right now. It's
I'm not even just saying music, because I feel like it's just, we can get into like what it means to be in the city of Atlanta right now, just from like being here, and like that's probably a talk for another day, because I don't want us to like go on that for like ever, but man,
it's only getting bigger.
Exactly.
It's only getting bigger.
Do you guys not think though, like somebody like a him maybe dabbling in like these other things that's conventionally not what's made him his bread, as opposed to like some of the more mainstream like poppy shit that he's done for like the masses? Do you not think that's attributed to the fact that he's selling out the major arenas? Like he's already doing that shit, and he's made like crazy amounts of money. At a certain point, like obviously you can, I don't know what kind of person you are, but for most creatives that are doing something like that, especially someone who's like a student of it and has constantly been on all sides of like this music shit as well,
I'll say this,
like trying to get better,
proved he's a student.
It's like
as much as he says he is, like for real, like he backed all of his talk up.
I mean, he tells you every interview,
but for sure,
but
he'll tell it all the time.
But jokes aside, it's like the fact of someone like that, once you get to a certain point, like you can keep shooting, trying to get to like this amount, 100 million, a billion, whatever, but when the money shit's not a motivating factor anymore, maybe, because you never know
once you already got it.
Exactly. Do you not think that's just like people are bored and want to like go to the I guess push the bounds of what like their creativity is, trying to get like the best products for themselves,
like a rap city and just like doing shit?
I know the way I see it, like once you get I would love to get there, but once you get the bag and you did it however you did it, you got that opportunity to go back into what made you fall in love with music. Exactly. What was you really a fan of? Because I don't care who you are. If you rap, whether you want to admit it or not, somebody influenced your art.
For sure.
Somebody put that battery in your back. Like, I want to be like this.
And exactly. So I was gonna say, like,
I love what I'm saying right now.
People asking you on that, it's like, when you see, especially there, once you get to that point, again, no one knows how it's gonna feel. Like when you really look into your bank accounts, like, damn, there is 50 million. Huh? You know what I'm saying? I did just do a 10,000 person show. That's crazy. Like no one knows. We don't know that right now, but
soon though.
Exactly.
All of it.
But when you get there, do you know, at least for yourself, where you hold what's important to you, or what you think is like important, and what you plan on like doing with these things? It's like, can you at least say from your perspective that pushing the bounds of your creativity is important to you and seeing what that produces?
Absolutely. I hope once we all reach that level, you feel me, I definitely want to keep the core of why I love to do music, because music just at the end of the day just makes me happy.
Exactly.
Like, you know, y'all all know that feeling, like when you're just getting into the everydays of life, just go to work, do whatever. Mm-hmm. But when you're not doing what you really love to do, you can feel that void just being missing. Like,
exactly.
And I especially with my music, especially a lot of stuff that I got coming out, I want to give that feeling to other people as well.
Exactly.
I get that.
And it's just like, and the reason,
just stay true to myself over everything.
You got to. And we're gonna get into some of the Grammy bullshit. I'm not gonna like read through the whole list and like whatever. We're gonna talk about like the major points
the
there.
Grammys.
But like before we get there, like the main thing, like you were talking about the things that gave you that feeling. One, I think that since hip hop, like everything else, like the major entertainment industries, whether it be like sports or whatever, a lot of them are really male dominated, and you know how egos get, you know how prideful people get. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of the times it's really difficult for people to admit I'm a fan of somebody or I love something, because they feel like it makes them feel little broed, when it's like, bro, none of us would be here if we weren't fans. You know what I'm saying?
Deep in that conversation if you want. Like that's all ego. You feel me?
It's
like,
all ego.
The ego take you a long way.
It'll kill you.
Take you a long way. And caring about what other people think, which we all fall victim to.
For sure.
But especially with social media and all of that, like I can easily see how someone could be like, I don't want to really give my influences out, or who really inspires me daily, because it might get used against you. Especially as a guy, you always feel like any vulnerability you put out can be put back towards.
Yeah, that's one of the scariest.
Which I hate that stigma is reality for some people.
But it's important we speak on shit like this because like that's why this podcasting shit was difficult at first, right? Well, little nuances of it, because once again, we could talk all day. Like we regular chop like this. This is just now we have a camera on in the mic recording. We were doing this before we were, you know what I'm saying? But it's like admitting certain things or being vulnerable in certain areas because you feel like people can use that shit against you. And that's just some man shit if we're being real, like some pride, some ego shit. But I got to a point, I'm going to chuka it, but I'm going to try to be responsible first before I chuka it. The responsible thing is just realizing that, what makes you special and what makes you you is what you're looking at in the mirror every single day, and like how you think and your essence of yourself. Everybody has different energies, frequencies, like whatever people want to believe in is just true. That's just the truth of the matter. And so the reason people are going to fuck with you is because of you. If you are trying to be someone else, if you're trying to perpetuate something, if you're trying to like this, that, like, that's why AI is one of my biggest influences, period. Like, and I think he's the embodiment of a lot of shit that motherfuckers are pushing for right now in the world, because he's somebody that was even like, it brought to tears on All the Smoke, talking about how sad, how he would feel like he was doing God a disservice because of the fact that God made him this way. So why would he not be himself, right? And then the other side of it, now that we're going to choke it after being responsible for 2 seconds, is none of y'all niggas are going to beat my ass. So y'all can know whatever y'all want to know about me. And if you do think you can beat my ass, we are in a very legal carrying state. But anyways, like, we going to get straight back to the money. For sure, we got to just be real about that one. But with the Grammys shit, though, that was funny. Like, we're a little bit past it. But the main thing that I wanted to discuss when it came to the Grammys, like, yes, as the backpacky nerdy side of music for me, I wasn't mad at the album of the year announced people because of the fact that I've listened to all of those projects. That Royce project was actually beautiful. Like, there's a lot of projects that people skipped over because they're people you're not going to really think about. You know what I'm saying? Alfredo was genuinely one of the best projects of the year in my opinion. Like, I love the backpacky, I love the rappy raps, I love anything that there's a certain producers that you just know it's a win. If for me personally, like if Harry Fraud, The Alchemists, like we can keep going Ninth, like we were talking about, like if they produce a track, I know the music itself is just gonna sound so good that the nigga could just be whispering on the shit and I'm probably gonna enjoy it. That's so biased, but I'm being real about knowing my influence is there. But taking away feeling like Roddy Ricch got snubbed or feeling like Lil Baby got snubbed and all that, if you do feel that way, you know, my main thing, because I was gonna have the whole discussion where we just like kind of went into that category and talked about that a little bit, but actually after a Drake post this week talking about it, I kind of started to think about the shit that we've been saying all along in terms of A, why do we keep letting these white people validate us? But B, on top of just letting these white people validate us, it's like we are in the scariest, like creatives are the most dangerous people on this planet right now. Period. In all industries.
Always have been.
Always have been, but now it's in the forefront to where it's undeniable. Like they can't, it's not like it's still the same industry bullshit that it's always going to be, and it's always going to be predatory, and they're always going to try to take advantage of people. And we understand that. We see what they do in our communities, but from a standpoint of just like everything being so easily accessible on the internet, and now we have cameras in front, so you really can catch people in bullshit a lot easier. It's now somebody like a Drake or like a Rihanna, like a Beyonce, like a Hove, like we're talking about the up, right? That has like all of the pull in all the industries. Like they push a button and whatever they want is happens. If Beyonce, Drake, Hove, and Rihanna all decided to go to the Soul Train Awards next year, would it not be bigger than the Grammys? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, I feel like that's just like a given, because it wasn't there the year where, to be fair, everyone kind of like boycotted the Grammys and tried to take a stand against that, and then they started making reasonable change to have shit better represent like the black community and whatnot. I feel like that's just, and it was the like big names at the time, and like obviously there's probably some people out there like, fuck it, I'm gonna still go, and I might be the only black person at this event. They might get their shine. I mean, cool for you too, but I feel like just having those big names off rip are gonna do that. I don't know.
My question is, do you think that, like we've said, with how we know that we kind of have all the power right now.
That's it right there.
Do you think that we're actually ever going to get to a point that people at the tippity top really do put their egos aside and we say we're just building something for black people? Because we run these industries, so why not?
I would say yes, but it's not going to happen as fast as we would want it to. You know?
Do you think we're going to see it?
I think little by little, I believe so. I believe so. Hopefully we're not old heads by then, but little by little we're realizing, even now, like we're realizing how much power we have. Like the shit only matters if
we say it matters.
If we say it matters, just like you just said, like if Beyonce, Jay-Z, Nas, whoever, just say we mobbing out to the BET Awards every year.
It's thugging.
And we're stoked again. We getting crazy about posting every BET Award, whatever. Putting the emphasis on this over the Grammys, because the Grammys only get, we're moving past the days where, at least I believe so, where the authority is old white man. Like
I think it's slowly changing.
Like you feel me? Like niggas are getting fucking tired of that shit.
Oh
like,
my god,
niggas getting tired of that
they're
shit.
They're so
bro.
disconnected, like, and you see the fucking.
How often are we gonna just continue to just let old white men and people who don't give a fuck about the culture, people that are,
you know, they're not even listening to the music.
You feel me?
You know what I'm saying? Like, how are you deciding this shit? You're not even listening to the music.
That's such a good point, and I don't want to go into like this next thing because I know it's something that we plan on talking about, but it was kind of referenced in that Chappelle video. And
did you watch it, the Chappelle video? Like he released a little 20-minute clip this week on his Instagram.
I got the gist. I got the gist of it.
You got the gist.
I was following the situation where he was trying to get his shit pulled down, and basically the situation where they were streaming his shit for free.
Okay, yeah.
Which is kind of crazy.
So I don't know if
you know the whole story with Dave Chappelle with that show. Like,
and it's funny because in that 20 minutes actually he broke down the story. He told he made it really good, and this is why people like Chappelle is a genius. It's like he's a genius because his talking, he's gotten to the point that he doesn't really go up there and he's not really joking you when he does his stand-up sets. His stand-up sets are more stories, like personal anecdotes.
His shit is not a punchline, and it's not like I'm just going up here to be I mean, he's funny just naturally, just being himself.
Exactly.
But he's being funny.
Does it feel my pain type shit?
And
you feel me? Like he can sit here. He can sit here and just talk to you about the most basic shit in life. No joke, but you gonna laugh.
Exactly, and you're learning something.
And you're gonna sit back and be like,
exactly,
that's some real shit he just said.
And so my point, going towards that, because I don't know if y'all have much more on like you want to talk about for the Grammys and things like that.
Do you have much more to say on the Grammys?
I mean, we can go into depth with the Grammys. I mean, I would say Lil Baby definitely got robbed for sure.
Okay,
for sure.
Because I don't know. Because I'm not saying he didn't get robbed. Because I definitely agree with that.
It just reminds me back when Wayne was killing everything, like in the mixtape era, and I just in my mind I was just like, this is the hottest rapper in the world. How do you not recognize him on everything? Like
it comes from somebody who was even denying him.
Whoever the kids are following, to me, you gotta give them.
And Lil Baby was the only hip hop project this year to go double platinum. He was like, it's like from a number standpoint, he should have made it. From a music standpoint, the way it was received, he should have made it. His just didn't make sense. Roddy's,
he's the biggest rapper in the world
at the moment. If we keep it a being, he's every week, every Friday when you go through and you're listening to new music. There hasn't been a Friday that's gone past this year without a featuring Lil Baby.
Biggest rapper in the world. Anybody that's starting out rapping right now, they trying to sound like Lil Baby.
Being real.
This might sound ignorant.
Niggas walk around looking like Lil Baby. Like, you go outside right now, you go see about 5-10 niggas walk around looking like Lil Baby. Like, how can you not put him in album of the year?
This is gonna sound ignorant, and again, this is why I ask y'all, because I respect these opinions, and if I sound stupid on air, I'm the kind of person I'm happy to, so that other people don't, because I don't give a shit.
As you shouldn't.
In that stand-up, he started talking about how some of these people he doesn't even know, honestly, like the Viacoms and all these other like known industry heads, if the individuals that were fucking shit up before are even still there because of movements like what been happening nowadays with like the social justice and everything. So even like the Me Too, like, and everything, getting niggas out of here that were really like fucking up, like, and I hate like the Harvey Weinsteins and shit like that. In the music industry, do you think obviously there's going to be some of them, but do you still think that a majority are these people that were doing this, or a lot of them are like people that stepped in afterwards and aren't necessarily the same beast, but they're ignorant that could be worked with? Or it's one of those like people got to stop doing this and start talking on what we were like mentioning earlier and just start again boosting shit that actually cares about these acts, like the BET Awards.
I mean, even like just comparing it to like what you just saying with Viacom, like sure, it's like you said, it's a revolving door. A lot of them people are gone but moved on to other companies, but a lot of those people are circulating between the same three or four companies. It's a revolving door, but it's the same.
But it's the same
culture.
Okay. Yeah.
It's the same culture. Just like with politics, like it's the same culture, that same old mentality. Like it don't matter who's there. I mean, it do matter who's there, but the culture.
Not as much as like the system matters more.
That's why the same shit that happened to Dave Chappelle happened to Nick Cannon, happened to Dave Chappelle again. It's like it's the same culture, it's the same idea. Like
and it's just based on an unfortunate.
And just like with the Grammys, it's the same culture.
Like, it's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate, but we have to be real about it. And this is why I enjoy spaces like this, is because we're just gonna talk our shit and we're gonna be honest. Like obviously, like with certain times, we're gonna avoid names like when we can. Like sometimes, of course, because you never know with certain things. But it's like I don't know. It's like a dude can be the exec here, like he could be the CEO here, right? He could be the lead of your music department. I know they finally, it took till 2020, which is crazy, took away the word urban, but their urban department.
What the fuck is that?
Like, you know, like what? Like, but anyways, like they could be the lead there at fucking Def Jam, and then next year 300, and then next year they're at Atlantic, and then next year, you know what I'm saying? Like it is a revolving door, but like you said, it's like a pool of the same.
It's a community.
So do y'all believe in like Mavericks stepping into these systems and these companies and things and being able to shift the culture to the point where it becomes a better entity but still keeps that company name? No. Because a lot of these companies, people like, even though we know that they're fucked, people still appreciate them because they're like, damn, I got my streaming service I love to use, or I got this channel I like to watch, or I get to go to this theater that is maybe owned by them too. It's like people appreciate these things, but they know this fuck. So like, let's say for instance, like on a politics tip, you have certain people come in that are kind of standoutish for like what they believe in for their parties. And again, I'm not trying to like name drop too much or some shit like that, but you get what I'm talking on, right? And so it's like people who are trying to revamp that system, but from the inside. Do y'all believe in a thing like that?
I do. I mean, the Mavericks are always there, and they inspire people to look at it from a different perspective and bring that new energy. but it takes time.
It
like
does take time.
Back into politics, you look at Obama. Like, I believe he meant well for black people, for a lot of people. Like, he was a change, but it takes time. Like, 8 years is not enough time to reverse however many centuries of just fucked up old white man mentality.
And what that role's supposed to fulfill, because even then it's like, no matter how good he could have meant, he was still the president. And the president of the United States, no matter how you looked at it, does fucked up shit, like, in some realm. So it's like, even with the best intentions, you can't always do the things that you want to.
And to be real, like, I was somebody that was hypercritical of Obama, like, to be honest, just because of the fact that, like, at the end of the day, it was the first person I've seen.
Felt like he should have did more, right?
It felt like, exactly, because it was somebody I seen in that office that could have been a part of my family. You know what I'm saying? First time we've ever seen this in our lifetimes. First black president. You know what I'm saying?
Took that for granted, to be honest.
But
boy, did we?
Did we? But anyways, whoa. Anyways, it's like,
shit.
But like, one of my things that I have to walk back is just like y'all were talking about a little bit. It's just realizing this was 400 years of white people's doing. Obama wasn't about to be able to really crack a dent in that in 8. It's going to take some time to work through these things, and unless we can really do radical change, which is, for if we talk about the music industry, we have to talk about because a lot of people don't realize the fact that if people were paid fairly in the music industry, just like if we just cut the bullshit and get straight to the top of it and be real, like,
you mean like artists?
Like artists.
Yeah.
Lil Wayne would be a billionaire. Baby would be a billionaire. You know what I'm saying? Like, just if we're talking about just pure entities, because of how much is streamed from them and kept the lights on in certain buildings. And so knowing those little facts, it's like Drake's income, right? He's already worth his 9 figures or like whatever the fuck like he's worth. You can only think about the fact that he's worth that off of what he gets. So think about what the fuck Dave made off of someone like that.
Man.
And so how do you think the other 400 people they have at that label are getting paid? It's because that label has a Drake.
Yeah.
It's because that label has a this. And so the easiest way to hit white folks is in their pockets. If somebody like a Drake, if somebody like a Rihanna, if somebody like a Beyonce, the people that really do keep the lights on in these certain buildings, like just said, nah, tomorrow, of course it would change overnight. But we have to be realistic about radical change. And that's what I'm trying to be better about now, like with the terms with like an Obama.
Shit takes time, bro.
Shit takes time.
Shit takes a lot of time.
And so it's unfair to put 100% of the pressure on people that we think can change it overnight to instantly
and that comes with just perception is everything, right? Like, even though we all look at what Obama did and be like, damn, he should have did more, but it's like, even him being there, just being a black person in office,
that did a lot.
That alone helps a lot of people. That shows younger kids like, okay, you can get there.
Exactly.
You can get there. Just standing on your morals and doing what you need to do, and know that someone of color can get you there.
Exactly, because I had so much negative to say about Kamala Harris in the same stance, but then
that's a black woman.
Then I started to think about it though, and I walked back all of it because at the end of the day, she may have did what she did, you know, as the whatever in California, and that's fine, and not fine in terms of, obviously I feel for all the peoples that families are still affected, and all the people that are, of course, like all of us have empathy here, and we've all seen this shit in the black community, but the fact that a black woman is sitting in the highest office in the United States minus the president. You know what I'm saying? Like sitting right there. There are like our sisters, like I'm sure like family members of yours, or whether it be like extended, or whether it be just people in this community. Like there's a little 10-year-old out there who sees Kamala Harris in that office, who at 30 years old might be the person that changes.
Bro,
that's where mavericks are important.
Yeah, and that's important.
And so we'll leave off of that and keep on rolling into what we're talking about. But I just want to say one more thing. It was exactly that made me kind of stop saying certain things and reserve my opinions, because I'd seen individuals like my little sister, who I don't feel like gets inspired by shit. The only thing that inspires her is what she wants to do, you know?
Bro, she wants us to blow so she can
on wave.
Yeah.
She doesn't even want to work no more. She wants us to blow so she don't have to work.
She
Nothing inspires her.
Do whatever she wants to do. I saw her get inspired by that shit, and I was like, all right, this is different. You know, this means a lot to people.
Me, you know
so it's like you take that for what it is. But I know we got a little bit more to get into here, especially some shit that I've been itching to talk about.
We'll say this for sports. These will be our only two sports things today because like he is a hoop head as well, so we could get into like hoop.
As you can tell, I don't know. Looking at the camera, you see the Golden State drip.
So we can get into some hoop shit too.
Well, Suns
but
fan.
I want to keep.
Hey, Devin Booker, yes sir.
I want to keep sports probably a little bit more condensed than our normal shit today, just so we can like try to chop into everything else. But before we even move on, just because we've even kind of mentioned sports for a second, I want to be respectful in giving an RIP and our condolences to one of the few people in the GOAT conversation in the biggest sport in the world, soccer, Diego Maradona, passing this week, because that was something that was felt across the world. And a lot of people don't understand like what his influence really did in turn. Like he single-handedly, like as a single entity, saved the city of Napoli, like in Italy. Like him coming to play over there, like revamped their economy. Like that's a whole fucking city. You know what I'm saying? Like him winning that World Cup, he added the allure to Argentina. He was the first wonder kid. He was Messi before Messi. That's
He's
why
like, what's going on over there? You pay attention to it.
And that's why Messi looks up to him. That's why even today he just scored and did a celebration where he got all his I'm sure they're going to fine him. They're not actually going to fine him because you're not technically supposed to take off your jerseys anymore. But he took off his jersey and then threw the Maradona jersey on. For,
not that he gives a fuck. He'll take the fine.
I say that. Come on now.
Please fine me.
That's tragic though.
This man was trying to get our contracts for much bigger money.
But we have to give our condolences and we have to give our respects to Maradona.
I know.
So I wanted to definitely say some shit.
As people who play soccer, and like when you're getting into that sport, it's just like if you were getting into basketball, because I love that just as much. Well, I love basketball even more.
I think I like basketball more now too, which is weird to say. It took a lot of my life.
Really?
Basketball just flipped in the last couple of years to my favorite sport. It was soccer my whole life.
So when you're getting into it though, there's certain names that you just become like aware of because those are the GOATs of that sport. You know, more than one can exist. It's just a time and generation thing. And Maradona was one of them. One of the first things I ever saw that made me really think, damn, I like this. Like you could do fly shit like you could in basketball to where you're like crossing niggas and shit and like having fun with it. I was playing 8th grade soccer, and I remember one of the dudes on my team, like our best player, actually hit somebody with a Maradona.
Oh, he did put a hand of God?
No, not the hand of God. I literally hit him with a Maradona, like the move.
Okay.
And then went around him and just kept on going. I was like, yo, that was cool as shit. Like, this is fine. And then it made me look into that man and saw the history. I was like, okay, I get it now. But
how old was he? That. I thought it was like a heart attack or something like that.
He was 60,
man.
Damn.
Not even old.
And it's cut. I mean, obviously, I don't want to. I'm not even going to get down that road, actually, because I don't like to play with the dead one. But two, I just also don't like to like dive into shit that doesn't concern me because I don't know, because I don't have all the facts, but I know it was health complications. Because I think like
I was seeing some conflicting things.
Like maybe 2 months ago, like very recently, he just had surgery, right? And I think, if don't be mistaken, it was either cancer or something like that. Wasn't the reason he passed, but he had surgery that's like a precursor to something longer, right? Okay. And I believe that these were complications later, right? Damn, that came with like the heart attack and all of that. So definitely RIP to Maradona.
RIP to the legend, man.
Yes, sir. And then we already touched on the Chappelle thing a bit, and so I'm fine there. The Mahomes thing you explained to me, that was just a running joke, so I don't feel like roasting that nigga. So
the last thing I'll say about the Chappelle thing, is it not crazy to me, like, because this still goes on now, like, you create a whole show that influences the world.
Think about it.
You shop it around to all these different places.
5 shows. If you can name 5 of the most influential shows in our generation, in our lifetimes, Chappelle show's up there.
For sure.
It's gotta be.
You shop it around to all these places. They don't want it. Comedy Central picks it up. It's your show. The show makes $500 million, but they only want to give you 50. Is that not crazy? Like,
I don't know, man. Like
I would be blessed to be in those rooms to get to that conversation.
Exactly.
But it's like, how do you sit in somebody's face with a straight face like, we're gonna give you
because of how the industry
$50 million out of $500 million.
It's predatory. Like we talk about how the United States is, right, and how it's been like this for 400 years. Entertainment has been predatory since its inception.
Absolutely.
And so we're now watching people slowly try to break those shackles. But even then, like, and these are niggas that I have nothing but respect for, but I'm going to name drop because of the fact that it's a good example, right? Of people like using an Obama and using people that maybe didn't do as much as he wanted, but were trying.
Yeah.
Like a Hove or like a Diddy, right? Like some people would talk about like certain contracts, like with people, not really even like in Hove sense, because I think most of them niggas just were good and like they were happy with it. But some people would talk about like early Diddy contracts, and it's like, you guys do realize that Diddy got into the game, right? Had Biggie, had Mace, like
biggest label
like
in the world,
going crazy, biggest label in the world. If he gets into the game as a mogul and he's trying to learn about the game, what is he learning? He's learning
that goes back to what you were saying about the culture.
Exactly. He's learning the structure of the culture that has already been set.
Yeah.
So of course you may add some addendums to the contracts. You may fucking edit shit yourself a little bit. You may try to do, but like what you think, if you think you're giving someone an outstanding contract because it's the best contract you've seen in 89, 90, 91, 92, right? That's still in 2020 because we're going to retrospect it, right? It's still going to look predatory because like that's the best contract you saw then because you were slowly causing change at that time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And unfortunately, things always get that predatory look when it's the whole industry talking to more than likely a 18 to 22 year old.
Exactly.
You know, 9 times out of 10.
So you know what bothers me?
You're not fully
developed yet.
You're not even looking at certain things, and they know everything.
Bro, you see the dollar amount, you be ready to sign. You know what I'm saying? You don't even be reading the shit.
I feel like what's important though, as people who do things where making it for us in the things that we do, whether it be podcasting for us or it be music for you, at some point deals are going to be made with whatever like the specifics are. There's deals that are going to be made that end up establishing you for what you want and kind of getting your livelihood set for how you take care of yourself monetarily, right? And so what bothers me the most from seeing this though is the fact that, again, like the age range of these people that are usually being like, I guess, having these deals brought to them, and them usually being younger and being skewed. But it's not just that. It's like the predatory nature that we keep talking about, because at the end of the day, business is business. And I get in some realm, if somebody wants to offer you the most fucked deal, like knowing how bad it is and knowing how they're going to be capitalizing this major off of it, they have the right to do so. Like, nothing's wrong with that. The only thing that's wrong to me is the fact that how sneaky they make it so that you don't know it's bad. Like, if they said it in the most clear ways and it was like basically like sitting at a table with you in front of them, like, I'm scamming you, but I'm telling you I'm scamming you. So realistically, you should be able to make off your own decision if your life is in the place where you are like, which kind of, so like if your life is in the place where you feel like you need to like take that loss for yourself for like future generations down the line, you can at least do it under the like knowledge that I sacrificed myself to like put on for other people. I mean, but they're just doing it sneakily in perpetuity throughout the universe. He kept on saying that in that stuff. It's like, that's, I guess in some realm it's not the craziest literature, like a literature or whatever to put in these contracts, but that's still fucked. It's like basically forever throughout the whole universe they control your likeness, and like people don't know what that means. It's like, why throughout the universe?
I'm gonna say something really important happened with that Dave Chappelle shit. Like what you just saying, like you got the right to give whatever contract you're gonna give, and it's up to you to what you sign at the end of the day. For sure. But what Netflix did, the first time I've ever seen that is a big company like that have somewhat of a moral responsibility and say, you know, we are gonna pull this down, even though of course it's business. It's like we got the biggest comedian. If he decided to bring the Chappelle show back, it'll be with us because we showed him love.
And he's doing things on your platform.
I've never seen that, and maybe y'all can correct me. I've never seen a big company like that say, hey, we're gonna ignore your contract because you did sign some fucked up shit, and we're actually gonna pull this down because morally,
I've never seen it.
We don't want to have you upset.
As a low I've never seen creative who has the world in front of them, because like us, we have the world in front of us because it's only up from here. You know what I'm saying? Like, amen when it comes to that. But it's like, that makes me like, if Netflix were to create a podcasting division, you know what I'm saying? That makes me want to sign to Netflix. You know me? Like, seeing stuff like that, companies don't realize, like, you see the big players in your industry, right? If they see that they are treated swelly right here, and they hear iffy stories about this company, like, just for instance, let's use HBO. I don't know anything about HBO, so this is just for sake of conversation, but it's like, let's say, for sure, shout out to HBO, but let's say HBO offered 10% more than Netflix offered in cuts, right? But you know, at Netflix, they hear you, they listen to you, and they're always open. and at HBO you've heard hit or miss stories, I'm always gonna sign the Netflix deal. That's
always
not even hard. You know what I'm saying? Like I might not even read this one. Like to be real with you, like. And that's just being honest about the fact that they talk about the tricking people. They talk about this, like showing a base level. Like we're now, once again, everything's evened out right now. Like we're in the pandemic. People are learning. People are trying to figure things out. So you're going to try to hold on to. And a lot of people aren't in the Dave Chappelle position where they are going to try to appease you from a business sense too. Because you're the biggest comedian in the world. So I get that. So I do give them hats off.
But you know, companies, they'll get real cocky with you. Like, I don't give a fuck if you are the biggest artist. Like in the past, let's be like, we don't have to appease you. You signed this.
Like we're just.
And that goes back to again that Maverick conversation. Like to me, that moment with Netflix, that's something that will
ripple effect.
That's a spawning of like what the future could be with companies. Maybe I'm being very optimistic, which I tend to be, but like
no, it's good to be
adding that moral something in the conversation because that's never been in music or any business
at
like,
all.
A
especially
moral response.
Like, I feel like they're being moral in entertainment.
I ain't never seen no shit like that.
It's better to see from companies doing it even than people, which is kind of fucked. But like because at least when you look at like people, it's easier to pinpoint in history like. That one person's trying to change some shit up. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but you seen niggas get axed for way less. So like, just out of here, you know. Yeah. But what are you about to do to Netflix? You feel me? Like, no one's about to walk up and just like really cause problems for Netflix. They're major. They're huge. So like, seeing them step up and do some shit, other people got to take notice and start acting accordingly as well. So
and it may take a while.
It may take a while for sure, but it's gonna definitely have a ripple effect. Like I promise you. These DSPs they're in headhunting mode right now of trying to figure out what they can do to keep their market share,
especially right now.
Especially right now. And so like with like the Joe Budden situation on a Spotify, for instance, I promise you, after all he said and all people's heard, like with the Spotify shit going on, they're gonna at least be on their P's and Q's for this window, right? So the people walking into that building right now have the leverage to be able to take advantage of that situation to better their abilities because of what happened to Dude.
Yeah.
You'll be able to say, I'm just gonna leave if y'all are gonna treat me like this. So I mean, like, I'm gonna take the deal over at Apple if they're gonna fuck with me even just a little bit more, because
I'm gonna just sit back and just build my platform and keep building my worth, because I'm bringing you the traffic.
Because no one wants to.
I'm bringing you the money.
I won't say no one, but it's like the goal isn't always to sign a deal. A lot of the times people wish, and don't get me wrong, like a lot of people make it easier said than done sounding. Like once again, RIP, another one, Nipsey. But it's like Nip ended up signing the partnership after he was on and bubbling for 10 years. You know what I'm saying? He had to put that work and put that time in. Mac ended up signing the partnership after he was on for about 5 years. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and you see that way more now than you ever did. Like, I don't know who to say started that, but that mentality, like, you know,
Chance the Rapper, he started everything.
I mean, but it's like, yo, I don't need. People really sit back and realizing, like, you know, I don't really need a deal. Like, I could just get distribution. I can do whatever. Like, I could be partners with you, but
now people are picking and choosing.
Exactly, you know it's options
instead of
and
like
you gotta have love for
the
options.
whole shebang now, because you signed the whole shebang. You've heard 3,000 people in just the last year say these niggas fucked me 10 years ago. They fucked me 5 years. They fucked me a few years ago. So now people are strategically choosing. Unfortunately, like a lot of your first deals, you are going to get fucked in some way. You don't have leverage.
Yeah, man.
That's just the truth.
I was watching the Locks. They was talking about that shit. Like, your first deal is not gonna be ideal. You feel me? Like, and you're gonna be mad as shit once you realize it in certain aspects. I mean, I'm sure it's a lot different now. Contracts are a little bit better than they were back then, but like your first deal may not be what you really wanted.
And
to
people aren't sitting down with their lawyers like they should be for these first ones, just to like really get it sorted out. And it takes a special kind of person. I like to think I'm smart enough and capable enough to try and exert myself to get some level of knowledge that I need to navigate some of these contracts. I'm still a regular fucking person. Like, I'm gonna look at these and I'm gonna get caught up on some bullshit too, probably eventually. That's why you need like some of this help.
A lot of the lawyers have too, if it's like an appointed lawyer, that's the one thing that they try to get you into the loop with. A lot of these lawyers be their people.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, I'm talking about your own, because like that was in the stand-up set. It wasn't a stand-up set. It was in like the story. It was talking about how it was like the 3-card Monty that he saw earlier on. It was like, And when he's sitting at this table signing these deals, and all the lawyers are telling him, "Yeah, Dave, it's a good deal. It's a good deal. It's a good deal." He started to think to himself, "What if this is just like that game of 3-card Monty, and all of these niggas are in on it? Like, what if I'm just sitting, and they're all friends, and they're all trying to rob me?" It is like, it might be, you know. So trust your people, but you know.
But then moving right along to the stacks conversation that I wanted us to have. I only had like one thing to really say about this, but we can talk about it. It was people were getting onto Thug a little bit this week because they thought he was being disrespectful to Andre 3000, because there was a moment on the T.I. Expeditiously podcast which was very interesting to see Thug, Benny, and T.I. talking together. I loved it. Don't get me wrong. I did not think that was a dynamic I would enjoy, but that was a great conversation. I watched the whole hour plus of that shit. That shit was nice. But Benny's seems like such a good person. That's somebody I want to meet so bad.
Smart nigga, man.
One of the few people I really, really want to meet. But like when it comes to the Thug shit, it was kind of like he was talking about how if I gave a really TLDR, it's like Andre talked about being my fan, you know, or like he did because he said that Thug inspired the verse on the Erykah Badu project, right? And then he tried to call, and he's giving him basically the little bro treatment of like, yo, I have to talk to his secretary, that has to talk to this, that has to do this, that has to do that. Mm-hmm. And so you could tell that Thug kind of felt a way about that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And it kind of rubbed him the wrong
I think that's what it all was about.
I think that's literally all it was. And people were trying to make it such a big deal and trying to make it seem like, oh, he was really shitting on this nigga. Or like.
And I get why Thug don't always want to do interviews. Because like, just that one little part. He basically
trending all week.
he told you what the issue was. Like that little part just annoyed the shit out of him. Like, and that fucking happens.
That's what I was about to say. It's not really deep.
I felt like I didn't believe him when he said like I ain't listening to 100,000 songs.
He grew up in Atlanta.
That's what I could tell. Like, you know, that's Atlanta niggas though. Niggas probably like, you feel me? Like
he just started like talking. Yeah.
He didn't like that shit. Like I'm calling you straight up. It's Thug. Like I don't want to speak to your secretary and go through 1,000 people to get to you, especially if I know
you said some positive shit about me.
That's and it's always going to hurt you a lot more when it's somebody that really inspired you.
Exactly.
Like, do y'all think though?
That's why I feel like
we don't know when this conversation
him and Wayne got so different.
Because he loved Wayne. Like you can tell he really loves Wayne.
Even though we all don't know exactly what happened in that situation.
For sure.
Mm-hmm. You could tell like that shit really bothered him. And the same thing with Andre 3000. Like,
I think it's the exact same thing.
I feel like
they the same
when
nigga.
People get caught up on things like these though, a lot of it comes from like you're hurt because of what your expectations were without removing yourself from the situation, viewing it outside, right?
For sure.
So we don't know when this conversation happened. Did it happen recently? Did it happen like a year ago? Did it happen months ago?
Sure.
And if they did point that out there and I just didn't see that part, then let me know. But it's like I remember seeing a conversation, I think it was Rick Rubin and Andre 3000, he was talking about himself and music now and things like that. And it just seemed like he had a lot of insecurities about making music now. And like
Andre 3000?
Yeah, and he just wasn't in the space to do certain things. And so that could have been, honestly, him doing that to Thug could have been him deflecting, trying to boost the time it might take instead of just being real about it with another individual, like a peer or like, not necessarily a peer, but like, you know, someone in your industry, a peer, yeah. And
they're
like
peers, we have to be real.
Yeah.
For sure.
And like instead of being real with someone like that, just trying to like dodge it for a little bit while you try and mentally get yourself there where you need to be to work with that person, and which very possibly could have been the case because we all don't know. We only get one side of the story, which you know. I mean, I would understand why it would rub him wrong, but
you're going from 100, from 10 to 100. Like Andre 3000 has always been so like secluded from the industry to itself, more so into itself, and Young Thug is about being with everybody, bringing everybody together and working 100 times more than everybody else.
Always living in the studio.
It's 110. Like you got to meet in the middle, but I can see this nigga trying to get to this nigga. I can see the frustration. Like,
and you can see the
I'm
ego.
trying to do some shit today.
And like, you can see the ego a little bit too, just 100%. Because like I'm
Young Thug. I don't want to talk to your fucking
manager. And it's like he even brought up the Elton John shit. He said Elton John was kissing my ass. Like that was somebody that said he was my fan and he was ready to go. Like he was like, let's work now. Like
and Elton John would not. I know he would not come out on an interview talking about I was kissing.
That come with understanding that everybody is different though.
Exactly.
You know, and I think that's what T.I. was trying to explain to him in a certain way, like, you know, that's just Andre 3000. That don't mean he don't love you.
Exactly.
He see the influence. He spoke on it before. Like, you know, obviously that can happen at any moment.
Andre literally raps once a year because he waits till someone inspires him to rap.
He's on his time.
Exactly. He's on his own time and he waits till he's inspired to do it.
Yeah.
And so the fact that Young Thug even made him inspired enough to do something like that, Thug should always know this nigga love him. Come on,
absolutely.
Like,
and deep down, he know that.
I know.
I'm just worried if it ended up
a
ruining a potential song coming out down the line that might just be one of the most fire facts shit we've ever seen.
Oh, they gonna do some shit because Andre 3000 is not the person that's gonna get in his feelings.
Yeah.
At least to the public. I mean, so it's not gonna get into a back and forth type of shit.
Yeah.
But still do some dope shit.
Definitely something, though, I'm sure. But I knew we wouldn't have to have much just because
we
see what it is. Like, obviously, a lot of people made it way bigger than it is. Come on now.
I mean, but that's social.
That's social media. That's media in general. That's why they do.
And they're gonna take this and they're gonna say everything Young Thug did was trash. Or everything Andre did was trash.
It's 3 a.m. I'm getting fucking notifications from Clubhouse like, "What do you feel about Young Thug?" And
it's like I don't.
I'm like,
I don't at all.
Why are y'all discussing this shit? Y'all made a whole row.
I'm not gonna lie. That's funny that you said that because I've been getting annoyed. I've been getting annoyed at some of the notifications I get from Clubhouse talking about we got a room for talks around. It's like, bro, leave me alone.
And that shit is round the clock. Clubhouse is
it's jumping all day. I'm not gonna lie though. That's weird to me because I came home at 5 a.m. last night. I roll in bed, I smoked a little bit, about to go to sleep, and I just opened my phone up because you get 300 notifications from Clubhouse all day. I definitely think I might need to turn those shits off. But anyways, like I click the app. Room's going crazy. Yeah. It's 5 a.m.
Boy, it's like y'all gonna go to sleep.
You know what I'm saying? Like what?
I'm trying to move to the no notification gang. I was watching some shit on Netflix, that Social Dilemma.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if y'all seen that.
I haven't, but I think I know what you're getting at from what people told me.
Yeah, man, that shit got me wanting to like, I turned off my Twitter notifications. Like,
I had to turn those off. That one was not sitting right with my spirit.
You feel me? Like, it don't make no sense for me to just be doing this. Next thing you know, I'm on my phone for 20 minutes just scrolling.
Right? Just ready. Because niggas are funny, bro. Niggas are hilarious. Right. And even then, the conversation be funny. And
sometimes it's not funny shit though when you're still scrolling. That
shit is addicting, bro.
It's just a real addiction.
Like, they compared it to like a drug, and I'm like,
genuine though. I see it though. You see the effect on people too. Like it's not to like throw names, but like there's people we know. Like there's people like there's certain.
I used to have shit.
I've been there.
No, for sure. And it's not even just on the addiction side. I'm talking about even like as far as it goes mentally with people. Like I'm saying like. It's to the point that people only see themselves in real life as their internet perception. To the point that there are certain, we've talked about it on here before, but there are certain women I know that honestly it has been, I've been watching it like a science experiment. Like it has been really, one of them, it's been damn near a year now that she has not posted a picture of her face on her story or a video or anything like that without one of them filters. and it's like I understand like using them because they're fun and like doing whatever. I'm never hating on shit that women love, trust me. But you could tell when
the filters.
You could tell though when it becomes a part of your personality. Like that's a part of your brand now. Is like this filter.
It'll be that specific shit too.
And that's. I don't know. I maybe have to talk to someone in marketing. Maybe I'm just dumb, but it's just like that shit's scary to me because
I feel like that only throws me off when you're not trying to make money from it. Because like I was somebody who was gonna delete my social media at a point just because I just couldn't stand the shit. But then I started the podcast with my brother, and it was like if I don't have social media, I'm hustling backwards. Like I got to do better about that. So
yeah.
But that's me recognizing that I need that to make money and like put my name out there and build what our podcast is. Like people who aren't trying to turn their social media into money or some stuff like that. When you're trying to create like a brand for yourself and things like that, I'm like, yo, what does your regular life look like? Because isn't that the most important shit? Because if it doesn't mean anything, like grand scheme, and you're putting the most thought into that, it's like, are you the same outside of it? So that shit's always a little bit.
I know y'all see me bring up Jadakiss a lot, but he had a similar conversation. He was like, I thank God that I was born in before social media, because now I use social media as like a tool for what I'm doing. Rather than social media just being a part of my daily life.
Because we talk about how addicted we get though, and think about it. Like that's why I don't blame these people when I talk about these things. And we are a tiny bit pressed for time, so after this, I'll get straight into like the sports shit, and then we'll wrap it up. But like that's why I fear for the younger generation a little bit when it comes to this stuff and like how it's affecting these niggas' mentals, because like we grew up half and half.
Yeah.
Like it was about halfway through our lives, we were all getting cell phones and we were all like starting to like at least the text phone. Like it wasn't like we didn't smartphone it until like at least our age was like later high school when niggas was on the smartphone, and then college is when we started really using the smartphones and like the Twitters, the Instagrams and all that. But like we at least had it by like
Yeah, something else to compare life to before this.
Exactly, because we still have the moments we could talk about, like the playing X in the cul-de-sac and like, or just like going and playing sports with your friends, or like you and people like hooping or doing stuff like that outside. Like now, motherfuckers, their only existence has been on this phone. But I can't blame you too much when you were 3 years old and someone put an iPad in your hand. So obviously, when you're middle school, you have the newest iPhone. You're updating your TikTok. You're updating your Instagram, your Twitter. Yeah. Now it's high school, same shit. It's scary to think about. Yeah. Because some of these, because a lot of people are impressionable, and it's men too. But the scariest thing for me is like we already see what society does to the self-esteem of women, right? Mm-hmm. And so like if you're starting yourself in like 5th grade,
or just people
in general, right? Like just it's everybody for sure. Like it's a self-esteem killer for everybody. But what scares me is like the fake presence you put on, like, because we're once again like 1 foot in, 1 foot out because of how our lives have been, but we still talk about the addiction. And so your internet perception, that becoming the persona that encompasses everything that you are, is horrifying, because you start to think of little things like, are you okay with the person you see in the mirror now?
And what is that perception made up of? Is it all the other social media personalities that you're seeing?
Exactly.
And you want to fit into that?
Are you trying to be people? Are you trying to like do this? Are you trying to this? And it's a
great way to lose who you are, for sure.
Exactly.
I feel like I like that better. I like myself more in the mirror though than I like myself online. Sometimes you start to feel guilty though about like not liking like your online image. It's like, shit, that's what's making me money, man. Like I gotta do better about this, I guess.
Oh, see, the thing is though, I think I look so crazy online, and the worst part is I look even crazier in person. I promise you, that's not. But like
that's another story.
I don't know for sure. That's another story. We're holding that one. But moving straight along to sports shit. I'll let y'all get some basketball shit off in a second, but definitely,
man, I don't even need to talk about basketball because we are running over, and I feel like there is a little bit more important stuff at hand here, at least for me.
Whatever y'all want to talk about.
We got to get into. I don't have much to say just because of the sheer disappointment I felt for sure, but I know, of course, my dog's got words on it. I just felt like we had a black president. You know what I'm saying? Gucci Mane and Jeezy had the #1 view thing this year. 10 million concurrent viewers, on the verses. Black people been winning. You feel me? Like we've been slowly working our way up. And then this nigga Nate Robinson sent us back like 100 years, man.
He didn't send me back. He didn't send me back.
Jake Paul.
Before I say anything, how do you feel about do you give a shit about like boxing in general? Do you watch the event? Do you care?
We gotta do just like I do with the election. We gotta do a vote to see who we gonna put up to get Jake Paul.
For sure.
We gotta put our votes together.
We have
and nominate someone to get this point back for black people.
Bro. Like I saw niggas say that they gotta get Matt Barnes on the line or somebody. Like they gotta redeem the whole NBA. Like there were NFL players in the comments talking about, from now on, bro, I never want to hear one of y'all niggas say that you can fight. Nate ruined it for all of y'all. Like,
they said Jake Paul knocked this nigga out and said like and subscribe on the way down.
Bro, the funniest one they were doing the Nate Robinson challenge. Y'all saw the fucking. You saw Thanos punching Iron Man.
I've seen everything, bro. I've seen people trying to hit the little revive. Like
as soon as I heard the Mario
Call
rings,
of Duty or something like this.
That's the #1 shit. When you hear the Mario rings, you know it's all that.
The Simba.
Simba stand up next to him like, yo, Dad, are you good?
Nigga fucked us up. It's not the year for some shit like that to be happening, man.
I'm gonna be honest though.
He gonna stay on with that bullshit.
Right? Did y'all expect any did you pay attention to the lead up to it, or was it one of those like you knew Mike Tyson was fighting, you were like, oh, I'm gonna just peep the undercard?
The day before I found out Nate Robinson was in this shit.
I was about to say I knew Mike Tyson.
I said, is that Nate Robinson?
Because I know people didn't really give a shit about this, which is like whatever. But I know people like again at least my age, because it is a little bit different. Even though I'm 23, y'all are 26, it's not far off at all. But again, like even people, I would say a year or two younger than me is where it really started. People started getting into YouTube and shit, like for real. Like it was like a personality trait for them. And so
for sure.
I'm seeing these things, and like I've been peeped on some of these because I started getting into boxing a lot more at the time. Like when like these YouTube fights started popping off to start off, and so I started like paying attention to them. And so I was watching these fights, and then I learned like of the whole fighting realm. I started getting more into UFC, and I was like, a lot of people say they can fight, but not a lot of people are like trained fighters type shit. So when I saw Jake Paul was fighting Nate Robinson, I started like doing the size comparisons, all these things. Like one's been fighting for like a little bit, or at least trying to, and like Nate Robinson just a hooper. And I was like, I don't think it's going to end like people want it to. And this is going to be a bad look for a grown man who's fighting for his kids. He's fighting for all athletes out there. He's fighting for...
Bro, you can't tweet 11 hours before this fight, yo, this is for all the NBA players. I'm going to go represent us tonight. Like,
well, afterwards, I'd be tweeting, no, the fuck it's not.
If I was in the NBA, I would have quoted that immediately and said it was not for me. It was definitely not for me.
Shout out to Nate Robinson.
Super shout out to Nate Robinson.
I'm definitely proud of him to know that he stepped into it, though. Because you can see that moment where he realized, shit, this is really a fight. This is different. This is different.
This nigga kind of can swing a little bit.
Bro, the Offspace blows up. When the Offspace blows up, I got y'all. I'll fight him.
Win.
I'll fight either one of them niggas, bro. I'm not worried. I won't even train.
You're gonna lose, bro. You're gonna lose if you don't.
If y'all get knocked out by Jake Paul, I'm never coming back on the show.
Bro, I'm promising.
Because this nigga gonna try beat you on points, bro. He might not even knock you out, but you gotta train.
No, I'm joking.
Yeah, that's what I was.
But Jake Paul just turns into.
Bro, I promise you on
everybody like one by one. Like
he might though. The man apparently he trains
fuck that nigga on everything. If we got to a point, when we get to a point that we could even be presented with an opportunity like this, if I was to get knocked out by either Paul, brother, I don't even want niggas to come back on my podcast, bro. I couldn't look y'all in the eyes. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck?
Stop. I'm taking a hiatus, bro. I gotta go look out. I gotta go get right with my family. I'm talking to how I just...
Jake Paul name, bro.
No, this
put some respect on my boy.
I mean, I know
he not going. He not going.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I'm not talking on his character or anything. I'm just talking from fighting Rome. You gotta respect anybody who trains that hard for anything that they do.
Of course.
The man really put time into practicing this shit. That's why I was like, this is not gonna go how people wanted to. So we got the wrong person to represent the black community here, because we should have gotten somebody who wanted to really be this person.
Give me somebody that sparred for a couple years.
A little bit, you know?
Somebody that at least fought some. Because there's a lot of NBA players that their cardio is fighting. You know what I'm saying? Like, they could have chose anybody.
I saw the Nate Robinson training videos. I said, we're fucked.
Can I get somebody with some reach?
You feel me? This nigga got like a 5'10" wingspan. Let me stop. But anyways, like,
shout out to Nate Robinson. He took that bullet.
Like, he really did take it. And to be honest, like, I hope that he does an interview or something soon and is laughing about it. You know, just because like something like this, you just gotta take it on the chin, no pun intended, and just really just like and really just kind of and really go with the jokes.
Serious.
you have to, and if you come back the kind of person like you're just good after, you know, then that's so dope. I feel like you instantly you kind of boost yourself up a little bit if you can just be cool after this.
The only way to recover is to be cool.
I don't think he cares that.
I don't think he cares that much either. The jokes was hilarious though. Then pro athletes was.
I was excited to see the Mike Tyson shit though. I know that was like not what everyone expected. It was two grown ass men fighting each other, which is kind of weird.
Out of breath.
Kind of weird.
Two uncles for sure. They were out of breath as shit.
Wilding.
Out of breath like shit, hopping around that ring. You could tell them niggas felt like, damn, it has been a while since I've done this before.
I was telling niggas, yo, Roy Jones' last fight was 2 years ago. He's not just gonna get knocked the fuck out. Like,
he's gonna hang in there. He was
it's nothing for him to bullshit his way through a little 8 rounds. Like, I knew that was gonna happen. I was like, he's not gonna get knocked out.
I thought he was gonna get his ass killed. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was one of them niggas, but I don't pay that much attention to fighting. So like, just
he had a good strategy to like.
Still looks like he's 30.
What?
That nigga can imagine you run into this nigga at a bar fight. Like,
what? Oh my god! I promise you, Mike Tyson could be on the side of the most deplorable person in the world, bro. That's my nigga immediately. I'm like, yeah, bro. What the fuck is y'all talking about? I'm on that side in a bar fight.
Bro, I don't give a fuck.
Mike Tyson?
Any level of drunk I am, like it would be better if I'm drunk. I see any person with a similar tattoo to him.
I see that tattoo.
And I'm gonna clock it. I'm gonna be like, oh, that's Mike Tyson. It could be somebody completely different, just dressed up as him. I'm gonna be like, I'm drunk. I bet it is him. I'm just not seeing it right, and I'm gonna treat it as such.
Oh, that's the nigga you don't even casually like bump elbows in.
It'd be a nigga like Roy Jones that'll get your ass because you're not gonna recognize him when you're drunk.
Oh, for sure. A nigga like Roy Jones really fit in.
This old ass nigga tripping.
This nigga could be one of the old people at Oak. No one would even know some shit. You know what I'm saying? Just
this old nigga tripping.
That's all I really had to say on that. I don't know if there's much more that you wanted to talk on. I know. I wish if we had more time, like present for it, we could dive more into like the other shit and other sports. The NBA is starting up again.
One question. Well, 2 questions. NBA. One, do you think it's weird how quickly the turnaround is, or are you excited for it? Because I'm personally excited for the quick turnaround, but I understand why some people are like, it's so fast. Like as soon as the shit ended.
I'm excited for it, but I'm scared in the sense that we're already seeing like an uptick in injuries.
That's horrifying.
Like it's only gonna keep going up if you just run these niggas right back out there. Like, and I just hope it's not more like torn Achilles and shit like that.
Because that Clay shit broke my spirit. Like that shit fucked me up.
Nah, that's one of those players. You don't even like the team. You don't even have to like whatever. That's the kind of guy you like to see him win.
You always want to see that nigga.
You think he's gonna come back and be anywhere near?
I think he will, just because like I think the things that are gonna take a hit are. He may not come back as a top defender in the league anymore, because that's going to be harder to do. You know what I'm saying? Because that movement is a lot more intensive down there than anything he was doing offensively. Because this was the nigga, once again, that could score 60 points, and he dribbled, 11 times, however many times that whole game. So I think he's going to still be the killer for scoring, but they're going to have to set up systems where he gets open in like a Steph way as a little bit more, because Clay will just like Clay was the type of nigga that you could be on this nigga like this, right? The second he has the ball in his hand, he's still just gonna pull it, and he's gonna figure it out, and it's in your face.
And to me, I feel like that's not gonna leave him.
I think that'll still be okay. So he'll still be able to. I think he'll always be able to figure out the shot.
Yeah.
But he's just gonna be more reliant on figuring out the shot. You may not get the like getting in the lane, Clay. You may not get the. You're still going to get some, like I'm sure. But I don't think it's going to take this nigga from like any night he could give you 30 player to like any night he'll give you 20 or 15 or something like that.
Yeah, niggas talking like he about to be Ray Allen at 35.
I'm just thinking,
that nigga's still going to give you 30 whenever he wants to give you 30.
I'm just curious though, because he's not like old by any means, but he is like transitioning into his 30s, right?
Yeah.
And so when you're going to be at a point where you haven't played basketball in 2 years, when you were essentially going from being in your prime like 20s to like now you're in your 30s, your whole play style is going to change a little bit. Yeah. And so he's going to have to refine his game in general, from like learning how his body works now from injuries and age, to where I don't think it's going to look smooth for a little bit, but honestly, he's a workhorse. I don't know if we could ever really doubt some shit like that.
And Oubre and Wiseman, like some of the pickups they've gotten too, I think it's going to be enough to spread the floor to where Clay's not going to have to, like, the reason it was so fun, and it was genuinely in the last decade, like, the most fun basketball I've ever watched. Like, the reason the Splash Brothers had to do what they were doing is because, like, it was no offense to any of the other niggas on the team, but you had two people you needed to give you those points every single night, right? And so the way they were creating these opportunities, right, they were, like, Steph, a lot of people undervalue Steph's shot creation, just in general. Or Clay's shot creation, just like little things like that, because they will find a way to get you a shot whenever you needed one. And whether it be this nigga running like soccer players all game, like literally you see Steph and it looks like he's running rounds all game trying to just get open for 0.2 seconds so it's over with, gone. And so I think with them getting a little bit older, and they're smart players, right? Like Chris Paul and like Dame was talking about, with like Chris Paul being able to manipulate little things in the game. I think they're smart enough that as they get older and adjust, they're just going to be manipulating little parts of the game with the players that they now have to do the sprinting, to do all of the little shit.
Steph is the system still. Like, Steph is the system. Like, just like with LeBron, you put LeBron on any team, they're going to be
a contender.
They're going to be a contender, like, sure. And I feel like that way with Steph, as long with the right cast, like Steph.
That's why I still think they'll go to the playoffs this year. I think they're still going to be all right. I don't think they're going to win.
I don't think they're going to go because the Suns are going to take that spot, in my opinion. But
the Suns are looking dangerous.
I think there's a few teams getting dropped off.
Yeah,
playoffs. I think the
Warriors got a chance still, though.
Yeah, the Warriors.
I think they at least have a chance.
At least 7th seed, 8th seed. You feel me? Like,
Timberwolves not about to be there. If I'm being honest, the Rockets not about to be there.
You don't think so?
Would the Timberwolves ever be there? That shit is crazy.
These things are perpetually ass.
Oh my god.
I think they've been cursed since KG left.
Absolutely. Nah, I think they were cursed even when he was there. Shit, he was them. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't them. It was KG.
Since Spreewell choked the coast. Was that there?
When the NBA was the NBA.
You feel me?
Oh my god, when the shit was and then the last question I'll end you with,
Pelicans coming up.
Just because, like, we're all people that love hoops, so we could talk for another hour on this shit. But I want to know your opinion on LaMelo in terms of, do you think maybe he's not gonna be the fucking the Luka or the Zion, like, that people are trying to make like the face of the league type shit. They are pushing that on him, don't get me wrong, but I want you to give me ceiling and low ceiling. Like, where do you think he best case, and where do you think worst case? Because I personally, worst case, I don't see him being a bust. I think worst case, he's like a career, like 20 point per game player. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody very solid, somebody that's going to get all-star bids, but may not be the one on their conference. But best case, I could see him being the one. You know, if he really puts a little bit more muscle on him and he gets better defensively. From what you've seen, do you think he's going to live up to the hype, or do you think that, like, what do you think?
I mean, I'll preface this with, just to put in perspective, I still feel like Lonzo is going to be a star at some point.
Same here.
I just think it takes time with what he does, because he's not naturally a scorer.
Mm-hmm.
But everything else he does, he's going to be a star. He's going to be a star. But I'll say, just like his dad say, like, the last brother got a chance to look at what all the other brothers did and perfect and see where he can do what he do better. Mm-hmm. And what's going to help him, especially in the league now, is like he's a fucking scorer, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's looking for his shot.
Always wants it.
And the three got to get better. But I'll say ceiling, I hate to compare him to someone, but
it's flattery. He'll do it in his own way, of course.
I'll give him, like, he can get you 25 to 28 in his when he becomes his full self, which I don't think will happen for maybe like another year or two.
Mm-hmm. Give it a few for sure, because these niggas like to count them out so quick.
But he got that confidence, you know. He might start pulling like Gilbert Arenas. You feel me?
Just crazy.
That's what I need. I need to see some, like, you know, if somebody's gonna be a star, because I feel like no matter how good you are, the difference between a good and a great player is getting out and being able to try some freaky shit, knowing that it might or might not work. That's not what's important. It's the fact that you're trying some shit, and
the fact that
and that's different. And knowing that you would have the skill set to make it work. Like we've seen, and I don't want to talk down on the man, because I feel like Kuzma could be a lot better than he is if he just did a little bit things differently. But you see him try some shit, you know. He gets into games, starts hitting some like 360, trying to like
some shit that he been trying to practice. You feel me?
Sure.
But I feel like as long as you're a scoring point guard and you're looking to score, especially in the league now, you got a chance.
For sure.
You got a chance. And he showed that he could score.
Exactly.
We just got to see if he can do that shit around these niggas.
Mm-hmm. Around these niggas.
And he's been playing professional. And I feel like, obviously, Australia ain't the fucking NBA, but
they gotta get Terry Rozier out of there though, because he definitely gonna try to square up.
Oh, he's definitely gonna try to fight this nigga. He's definitely gonna be mad that Jordan likes him more already.
Like, my nigga, I didn't come here for this shit.
Terry a dog.
I didn't come here for y'all to draft another point guard.
So he's definitely. I think they could work a 1-2 punch out though.
Devontae Graham is fired too. Somebody gotta go.
I don't know. I think bro, Terry's not a bad player. They just gotta dish him to another team.
No, by any means don't think he's bad. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I like to see him with the Clippers.
To be fair, because
they need a point guard.
That's not bad. I started thinking about
it. They need a point guard bad.
Yeah, they need a point guard bad, and they need a dog. Like somebody.
I'd keep the Pat Bev around though. Not saying like as a starter or some shit, but I would definitely have him as a 2-guard when he's playing with someone like a Rozier.
Something that's gonna make him talk a little less.
Exactly. And then I bring him on.
That nigga getting 30 minutes a game is not healthy for the sport. Niggas is getting hurt out this bitch.
Alright, well, just for time's sake though, like, we definitely appreciate having you on, my dog. Always.
Anytime, my guys.
Good having you,
yes, sir. But my name is Chuka.
My name is Ezigo.
And today we had
Pretty Mookie the Cobra in-house ATL.
Yes, sir. And then just shout out any socials, anything right now, just Mook Sprockets everywhere.
Yeah, Mook_Sprockets on all social media platforms. Follow in-house ATL to see any updates on the squad and the rest of what we got going on. Like I said, a lot of shit coming, man. A lot of fun shit, a lot of acting shit, a lot of shit, different shit, man.
Yes, sir. Yeah. That's creatives, being real creative. And we're gonna get all of those ads. We're gonna get everything. We're gonna put them in all the bios, so we'll have them down below for y'all.
All right.
But let's get out of here. Yes, sir.
Right. Later, y'all.